To create a sustainable competitive advantage, a company must have a strategy. Let's take a look at the strategy making process. The external business environment is much more turbulent than it used to be. When customers' needs constantly grow and change, and with competitors working harder, faster, and smarter to meet those needs, the first step in creating strategy is determining the need for strategic change. In other words, the company should determine whether it needs to change its strategy to sustain competitive advantage. Determining the need for strategic change might seem easy to do, but it's really not. There's a great deal of uncertainty in strategic business environments. Furthermore, top-level managers are often slow to recognize the need for strategic change, especially at successful companies that have created and sustained competitive advantages. Because they're actually aware of the strategies that made their companies successful, they continue to rely on those strategies even as the competition changes. Besides being aware of the dangers of competitive inertia, what can managers do to improve the speed and accuracy in which they determine the need for strategic change? One method is to actively look for signs of strategic dissonance. Strategic dissonance is a discrepancy between a company's intended strategy and the strategic actions managers take when actually implementing the strategy. Note, however, that strategic dissonance is not the same thing when a strategy does not produce the results that it was supposed to. A situational analysis can also help managers determine the need for strategic change. A situational analysis, also called a SWOT analysis for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, is an assessment of the strengths and weaknesses in an organization's internal environment and the opportunities and threats in its external environment. A distinctive competence is something that a company can make, do, or perform better than its competitors. Whereas distinctive competencies are tangible, for example, a product or service is faster, cheaper, or better, the core capabilities that produce distinctive competencies are not. Core capabilities are less visible, internal decision-making routines, problem-solving processes, and organizational cultures that determine how effectively and efficiently inputs can be turned into outputs. Distinctive competencies cannot be sustained for long without superior core capabilities. After examining internal strengths and weaknesses, the second part of a situational analysis is to look outside the company to assess the opportunities and threats in the external environment. In situational analysis, however, managers use environmental scanning to identify specific opportunities and threats that can either improve or harm the company's ability to sustain its competitive advantage. Identification of strategic groups and formation of shadow strategy task force are two ways of doing this. Strategic groups are not groups that actually work together. They're companies, usually competitors, that managers closely follow. More specifically, a strategic group is a group of other companies within an industry against which top managers compare, evaluate, and benchmark their company's strategic threats and opportunities. Secondary firms are firms that use strategies related to but somewhat different from those core to the firm. After determining the need for strategic change and conducting a situational analysis, the last step in the strategy-making process is to choose strategic alternatives that will help the company create or maintain a sustainable competitive advantage. According to a strategic reference point theory, managers choose between two basic alternative strategies. They can choose a conservative, risk-avoiding strategy that aims to protect an existing competitive advantage, or they can choose an aggressive, risk-seeking strategy that aims to extend or create a sustainable competitive advantage. The choice to seek risk or avoid risk typically depends on whether top management views the company as falling above or below strategic reference points. Strategic reference points are the targets that managers use to measure whether a firm has developed the core competencies that it needs to achieve a sustainable competitive advantage. In the long run, effective organizations will frequently revise their strategic reference points to better focus managers' attention on the new challenges and opportunities that occur with the ever-changing business environment.